What's going on? What's going on, Brown? Yeah, I'm just I'm trying now, and I just realized once again that I am not. All the light turned on, so also grab by that. Let's see how it looks though. Man, it looks horrible actually. Why is it like that? That shouldn't be like that. So why are you like that? You shouldn't be anywhere near that kind of. All right, let's just put the phone here. And where would I go for that one? That one is, what's going on, Dale? Maybe that? It is not that. I'll tighten that back down. Oh, maybe that. It's not that either. No, there we go. Now we're kicking with turnip grease. Let's try that. All right. Oh, well, I can't really turn the zoom on. Let's try that. It's kind of hard to believe that this thing gets that turned around and I haven't moved. Let's go on CCC. All right, let's put this back. So I think this has to be turned a little bit this way. Suppose that's right enough. I want to see also, I mean, I never use pass line stuff, so I'm going to try. Think about stealing the pass line. Okay. Looks pretty good. All right. I can deal with that. I can deal with that. I'll need a beanie. All right. I still have to turn the lights on. Just letting y'all know that. Make sure. Yeah, I still have to turn on the lights because the lights are actually, even though it looks like they're on, I guess they don't look like they're on, but the lights aren't on yet. This is kind of perplexing though. I mean, I'm telling you, it's perplexing that usually, I mean, the angle, what did I do? I went to South Georgia for a weekend. That was the big change in camera. I guess it has been cold. I guess it got a little sideways maybe. I do not know. All right. Let's see here. Deck of cards. Playing blackjack. All right. We will stick with, I guess I need to practice what I'm doing at casinos. So I guess I need to do a 5, 8, 9, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Boom. Let's go ahead and 10,000. And I'm showing both chip racks. I can do that. Actually, I want to kind of just do this one. I guess it shows clear don'ts. That's for dang sure. And then I'm not really worried about someone. Did you see my last reply? Yeah. And it seems, Ronnie, especially in what you're talking about. So the DGE is all about progressions, and it seems like from the math I did, you could have put everything and survived. Because you moved for 845, you'd have been down 845 by the 5, and the following would have been a 2, and you'd have regained back, and then another 2 would have given you like 100. You'd have 7 on the third point, so that one could have done it. So that was a little bit of a progression issue that just happened over time. Right now, just to let you guys know, I'm going to sit here and do, I'm going to do craps for a little bit, and then I'm actually going to get off and do another Q&A live session where I'm just drinking and watching other videos on YouTube and commenting like, well, this is what you can do in this situation. This is how you can avoid this situation, X, Y, and Z. So I figured that'd be a kind of cool little segue. I guess first things first, I need to make sure that I turn my lights on. Really? Oh, here you go, 6-1. I feel like I'm missing dice. Good. Longest roll in history right now? Nope. 6-1. All right. All right, let's see. 9 people watching. I'd have to check again, Ronnie. I'd have to look at that later to make sure, but I think I'll have to make sure. Because, well, we'll see. Wouldn't have made the 2 in the come out. Yeah, we'll look at that later. Because I'd have to look at the pictures and then play it out. How long was the run? I think Googs was like a 5 or 6 point by the time. First point was a 10. And then it just can't go from there. I think a 10 point got made, a 9 point got made, a 5 point got made, a 4 point got made, and then another 5 point got made. But, the loss plus 5, let me think here. Because let's say, because he didn't have any come out 7s with the 2K bankroll. Let me actually do that right now. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, 2, 1,000. Let's do that. 1, 2, 50. All right, let's do that 2K. Let's do like 2K progression before I do anything else. And then I also need to turn the lights on. So 1,005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. Okay, 2,000. Be right back, guys. I gotta do my progression, then we'll be off to the races. Oh! There we go. All right, so I know your first was a 10 point where you lose 50, okay? Then you came back with 5. The next step is 110. The next step after that is 215. The next step after that you gotta turn this for 10 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 4. 35. 2, 4, 5. 1,000. $1,135. 10, 5, 9, 4, 5. Oh, there's an additional 5. Why did I not see that? Oh, here you go. I can run it. Actually, I forgot that I have Discord on here. So let me look at this real quick before we start, guys. I'm looking at a progression, a numbers progression here. Okay, so let's take, this is 2000, and we'll make this a teaching tool for everybody. This is Bobby's, progression of dice history. There should be 2,000 here, 2, 4, 5, 1, 15, 17, 18, 19, 50. All right, so $2,000 bankroll. Let's see what we can make happen here. So the first thing, all right, what? Okay, so the point becomes a 10, okay? You had $50 odds right here on a spread of the 6 and 8, and the roll goes 11, 10. So you make the point, point's gone, 50 down. You then put 55 on the don'ts. Let's put this over here. And we'll put loss over here. So 55, that was the first, or 50 was the first one you lost. So you then put 55 on the don't. The 5 was rolled, then a 12, and then the 5 was made. So that comes down. So we've got a 10 and a 5. So now you have a total of 105 down. So we give them 100, take the 1 back. So 105 down. Your next step should be 110. The point becomes a 9. You roll a 6, and then a 9 again. So point made. So now you're 215 down, and you should come back with 220. You then roll a 4 point, and then an 8, a 5, a 6, a 3, a 5, a 6 and 8, and hit the 4. So now you are 435 down, right? You get 435 down. You've hit the 4. The next point becomes a 5 again. So again, 435. So you should be at 440 now. Point becomes a 5. We roll a 3, a 9, a 10, a 10, a 9, a 4, and then another 5. So that's the second point for the 5. So let me think about this. 5, 2, 4, 6, 8. So now you're 875 in. You put yourself at 865, so there's probably something to go right there. Okay, so, and this is what you're talking about, is that you lost the 440 right here, and now you're down 865. If you came back, let's just say 880, 2, 4. You'd have been right here. Point would have became a 5 again. I can't see y'all's comments, so right now I can't see them. It'd become a 5 again, and the next roll would have been a 5 again. Okay? So I'm going to work this out the way, so right there, this is basically everything you would have done. Okay, that'd have been gone. And then technically speaking, you've been like, okay, Well, the progression, this is all I got left, which is 245 stuff. You'd immediately hit a 2. So this would have brought, and this is after. So I'm going to do what the progression would have been, which would be 250 with a nickel back. And you would have had to let this ride in order on the next point just to make it happen. So let me see here. That's 100. Go ahead and get green. 2, 4, 5. Oh. All right, the point would have then became a 5 again. And you would have 7'd out, which would have been 4, this, and the 7 out would have ended your technical DGE progression, last bet, first, last bet, best bet. So let's see where you would have ended out on that 7 progression to reset this line, which would have been 2, 4, 9, just under $1,000. So the question is, in this scenario, you're asking what could I have done? So there's a couple things, okay? And I've said this in the previous live video, and this is where I'm going with this one as well, okay? So let's bring back, this is still the 2K bankroll. A couple things you get approached by this. So the first one was the 10, right? You lose 50, we're off the 10. You edged, you hit it. So then the second point, you had 55 and came to the 5. And obviously you missed the 5 and lose the 55, you're down to 115. Now, 115 is 5% of your bankroll, but then after that, you're like, okay, what's the third point? And if your third point, which would have been a 9, you lose the 9. So now you're at 115. So now you're at a total of 220. You're down 220 after the 10, the 5, and the 9. So first thing, if you have a lower bankroll, you should be playing conservative. And the first thing I would ask myself is, I have made 3 unique points, and I'm down $220. What should be my bet right here? Well, per the DGE anti-fire bet, you're not even supposed to get crazy until 2 or 3 unique points have been made. So right there, that would tell me at this point, at this level, that I am way oversaturated on this, okay? Now, however, in saying that, I would still probably put the 220 on the, or 225, excuse me, on the don't to see where it had gone, okay? And in saying that, it would have been a 4, which is over here. Now with the 4 being the 4th point and the 4th unique point, I would justify that in my head that this is still a good bet. You're on a 4th point, you're in the 220 area, which is pretty moderate, but still like you're on a 4, which is great, 4.4, even better. Once I've lost this 4, and put this right here. So at this point, you're down 2, 4, you're down 445 right here, okay? This is where I would have sat here and backed down a little bit because now I'm like, all right, I took a stab on that 4 because it was good positioning. We're back to a 5, but I need to be once again extending that railroad. So in saying that, I probably would have scaled this back down to, okay, so I'm down right here. And I'm at $445. I would have put 200 on the don't and scaled it. If it was and so I've been right there, and I put 200 right here, okay? This is my loss factor right here. After you hit that 4, let me see here, 1, 2, you have 2 10s getting made at this point. You have 2 10, 1, 2, you have 2 10s made. And now you have 1, 2, 4s being made, okay? I'm gonna slap this to 200, okay? And let me make sure. Here it is. So now we're back on the 5. That's at 200, okay? And the next one would have been a 5. That marks this secondary up. And I would have lost this. And I would have came back with 205 right here. And the next one, that's that, okay? I'd have been 205 right here. The next one would have been a 2, which would pay me back the 2.5. And because of where we're at, and I know I'd still be down $440, I would have probably came back with another $200 bet. Just right there at 200, keep it flat, which now the point becomes a 5 for the third time. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit differently. Then you roll 2, you've rolled another 4, which is 3 4s. Man, and at that point, that's 4 10s. So right here, if I was sitting here on this point for the third 5, and I had 4 10s being made and 3 4s, I would have done anything with the 4, if I'm seeing this correctly. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 4 4s as well. So if I saw this, okay, now if I had a 5,000 bankroll, I'd probably come at it with a little bit more tenacity. But if I saw that 4 10s and 4 points have been made, and on top of that, we're on our 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7th point, and I had 200 here that I just made back, I'd probably, at the $2,000 level, put a $100 lay on the 4 and a $100 lay on the 10. At a 5K bankroll, I'd have done 200 each to chop that up a little bit. But let's just say for this one, for this bankroll, I'd probably done just 100 each. So, and I got, okay, because that's what I'm down. So when the 7 actually happened, to zero this out, I'd have gotten paid 200 right here, 100 total in the back. And then at that moment, I'd have been down 140 bucks. And then because I am mad at it, and this is just me talking, I'd have thought in my mind like, okay, well, he just had a really big roll without 7s. So I really don't want to get crazy on a 6 and 8 because that would be a multitude of 7s. So I'd probably just offset it again. This is still when I'm down, 140 bucks. I'd probably just offset the pass and the don't pass, put that right there for an offset. And then your next point you have after this, the 7 now is a 10 again. And I'd be like, hey, there's no way on this scenario. I'd be like, hey, he just hit a long roll. I'm not expecting another long roll on a 10, especially since 4 10s got popped. So in my mind, I would probably put like a $200 odds. I'd done I can't even do it, but a $60 6 and 8. Let's just say it's 60. $60 6 and 8. I'd be very conservative because I'm still down with like 1 roll or 2 rolls depending on my greed. And it wouldn't matter because your first roll is a 6. No, it's an 8. So that'd have been 70. And I'm just going to give myself 75. I'm going to bring this down and give back $1. And then at that point, I'd reduce this down to probably 50 since I just made 70. I didn't even look at the progressions to see what happens. So an 8 got popped, then an 11, then a 3, and then a 10. So I'd have lost that. We're going to bring this down to the 50 loss. So now I'm still down to 120. And I'd have taken that 120 and probably rolled it. I'd bring this back and rolled the 120 as a flat 120 onto the don't. Let's see what happens. 10, point made. Boom, 2. So 2 would have paid back this. And I would have probably offset once again. And then a 5 would have been pulled. I'd probably be scared to death at this point, put 15, which is a 7. Which is bingo anyway. So, okay. Now in saying that, you know, I preach over and over again, like when you get big in these moderate bets, let me turn on my cheats again here. I leave for 2 seconds and then I get this damn, this report. Pornography. Report. Lock. All right. So Andre, what's going on? All right. So he threw 3 5s in a row. What's up, Troy? What's up, Andre? Yep, this is where I stopped. Correct. Frequency guys here. What's up, DG? What's going on, guys? That was a come out 7, not a 2. All right. Well, let's look at this. You guys are just making me work all kinds of day on dice roll histories. So if I would have done, so it wasn't a 2, it was a 7. Oh, right here. So 110, 220, I'd have done 220 and it still would have 7'd out, I think. Yeah, it still would have 7'd out. So you still would have gotten big, but your biggest thing, the biggest thing I could draw from this is the fact that long ago, and here's a big difference, and I used the live stuff, at least last time, to talk about this, is that, remember guys, just in the live session, it's a runway. So, and the reason why I really do harp on those I call them the mid-range bets, the ones I was telling you about, is because right when you get between $200 and $400, or $200 and $500, even $200 and $800, things can go bad very quickly in a very short amount of time. So that's why you have to constantly say, hey, you know, where am I at supposed to be? And I mean that in the best way, because here's something that happened to me recently, and this is something that is really can draw a lot of info from, excuse me, I'll move this is what happened to me. And I had $10,000 bankroll, okay? So the point became a 10, and I think I have some offsets, so let's just say this. $200 became a 10, right? They make the 10. Not a problem. Comes here, $200 down. And I think I come back with 205 on the don't. Roll an 11. Down 405. Put 410 right here. And this is where things kind of go off of the rail, okay? So, the point becomes an 8. I'm not a big fan of it, but I don't know why, I was a little bit, it's once again, I hadn't practiced in a while, and I was just doing some froggy stuff. It was once again, I was sitting here thinking about like, well, I can bail myself out, X, Y, and Z. So what did I do? I ended up putting 1250 odds, but with a $600 6 and a $500 9. Now, there's 1,001 things that are wrong with this scenario, and let me tell you, there is. So, but I was like, you know what? Like, let's just see if I can get a 1 roll pop off and I'll call it a day. If I have to lose 1,200, so be it. I'm already up around 1,000, so I can, you know, I can mitigate that down to a $200 loss and grind back. I can, depending on what happens, we can do X, Y, and Z. So they 7 out. So when they 7 out, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh man, I just lost like $1,100. So I did. I lose $1,100. Okay. This is where the mistake is going to be. So 12 pays 10. Okay. So right there, you know, that's going to pay back this and whatever 50 is some change. They figured it out, but it didn't matter. In that moment, I was like, well, damn, I lost $100. So I must, but here's where the mistake happened. I got paid on the don't right here for 410. Okay. So, but in my mind, I was still offsetting, and I thought, well, I lost $100 right here. That must mean I'm in the hole for 500. But realistically, I got paid back right there in that instance. So then when they, you know, 7 out, I put out a $600, thinking that I was around $500 down. I put out a $600 6 and 8. Okay. I was like, you know what? We'll sit here and play with this as we go. You know, we're just gonna make it happen. X, Y, and Z, right? So in that moment, but in that moment, that's what I was doing. I was like, all right, well, 7 out. I just lost $100 on top of that. So now I'm $500 down, 6 and 8 going, boom. So it's 7, double set, come out 7. So now I'm down 1,200. In my mind, I think I'm down 1,700 because I'm adding the loss over here. And then I was like, you know what? I have been getting double sevens all day. Like the majority of sevens versus single sevens and double sevens have been astronomically double sevens. And even some triple sevens. So I'm like, you know what? I feel pretty confident that a triple seven isn't coming. I feel pretty confident that we haven't seen a lot of single sevens. And I've been here for like 4 or 5 hours, even though I've been only playing for 2.5 hours. I've been here for a while. So in saying that, I did a $3,000 6 and 8 going, and it hit an 8. And I got paid 35, right? And I got a lot of big profit in 2.5 hours of playtime. But in the sense of right there, I made the same mistake that you're making on the reverse, which is even more dangerous. And so at the end of the day, you got to understand that you can Peter Paul gambits. You can turn hedge gambits into an anti-fire bet and then reverse that into a 6 and 8 working or something on the inside for multiple come out sevens on your don't pass big bet. The problem that you always have to understand is when you're stealing from Peter to pay Paul down here on the don't pass bar to build that bet, you have to see where you should have been at in Paul's progression. And the reason why, Bobby, is that I think what happened is you start on a 10 and stuff like that, but at that third unique point, I could even say on the fourth unique point, because it was a 4, I would have probably stayed with you. But the minute that fourth unique point would have gotten popped, I'd say, you know what? I shouldn't have been there in the first place at that amount. 3 unique points, I should be at the minimum on the don't and run from there. So the fact that I'm at $400 after thing where I should be at like, $35, $50, something like that, that shows you the disparity of where you were, where you should have been. And it's at that level you start to make that progression, you start to make that transition. And then once again, like I said, you have to prove to me to bet. You have to prove, the table has got to convince me to put a bet out. Now, when you start your progressions, it's pretty much cookie cutter, but you always have to understand when doing these, you could have bailed out in the 4 and 10, which were 4 4s and 4 10s. You could have easily pressured that if you want to take a pop shot, or just said, I'm going to cut this down by 200, put 200 here, 200 here. And it's still the same bet. You're still getting the same results, but now you're starting to take this amount and whittle it to a smaller amount to allow a bigger runway. And so, but in saying that, like, it's easy for me to see here. Exactly, Ryan Brown. He said, great point on spreading it out, backing off progressions. Now, in saying that, it's easy for me, and I'm going to tell you right honestly, it's easy for me to make that kind of assumption when I'm seeing the dice history in front of my face. But in saying that, I could have seen where I would have gotten in trouble by the third unique point coming into that fourth, because if it hit a 4, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to keep it even though I should be at a lower level because the 4's out there. And then once the pour got popped and regressed it to a 5, then I'd have been like, all right, I need to start chopping this up a little bit, especially with a 2K bankroll. Now, the only difference that would have kept me into bankruptcy, I guess, for lack of a better word, on a 2K bankroll, is the fact that I would have came right here. If the point, instead of doing triple 5 points, if it became another 4 point, I probably would have came in there. And let's just say based on there wasn't a 7 and the sequencing of dice, you could easily roll another 4 and then bejangled yourself. Now, in saying that to you guys, like I said in the live stream Q&A and the last Craps Live Fest, I said, it's all about your bankroll management. It's about your one way. And I've known I've used the same example before, and I apologize. We're going to get to the craps here in a second, but I really want to drive this home. And there's so many more bubbles to this, but the 3 biggest factors in anything, IP, Harrah's, and Gulfport, that's the biggest thing really, is that you have to look at 3 vectors of approach when coming to craps. For me, the first thing I look for, and the reason I put it at the top is because you're going to look at it up there, is you need to know your table minimums, table maximums, payouts, VIGs, odds. That's just walking up to a field and understanding where you're coming from. Based on that number, let's just say $25 table, $5,000 max bet. That means a $10,000 max lay, 10-20x odds, 5% VIG on the front. Got it. For that kind of bankroll, or for that kind of table, I'd require, which is the next, is bankroll management. Saying, okay, based on the table minimums and maximums, what kind of bankroll do I need to have in order to progress my strategy, because most of everything I do is on a consistent level of strategy. There's not deviations. Sometimes to y'all it seems like deviations because you're not taking the whole story into account, but that's fine. I mean, just like anything else, if you're a master at your craft, you can see here and say, well, can I just flip on the light switch? And an electrician will say, well, it's not that simple. It could be a fuse in your light switch, it could be the breaker, it could be the power itself, it could be the grid, it could be a short in your wires, you could be grinding out somewhere, you couldn't have even been hooked up, this might be a dead wall. There's a million factors when someone says, why can't I just flip on the light? And you're like, well, depends. And in saying this, you know, you guys got to look at your bankroll management and the plan of attack. So you had a $2,000 bankroll, should have said immediately saying, hey, you know, I can do a stab hedge on the 4 and 10, but I cannot progress heavily down the don't pass anti-fire bet gambit because I only have 2K to start with. And the biggest thing, Bobby, is that you've done really good successes in the past. And the thing about any good strategy, I think, any good strategy is the fact that most strategies will work most of the time. DGE makes a difference in that, saying you're going to lose money on the short term because I'm not going to make you take so many risks and potential hits for profit, but you'll outlast the bad times. So it's one of those very much switching mentalities that I'm not trying to make it to where you make money. I'm just trying to make it where you're not losing money, which in turn means you're making money. I know it's the same outcome, but a different way to get there, if that makes sense. And the third aspect has to always be your strategy, whether it be dice influencing, whether it be strategy management, whether it be stuff like that. And it's not just the strategy saying, oh, I'm going to do the triple lux. Oh, I'm going to do the blender. Oh, I'm going to do DGE. It's understanding that system and the fundamentals of that system in order to make an educated decision based on that. If you're, I'm using it right now as a carpenter doesn't always deal with 90-degree angles and putting a porch up. But a carpenter understands that per this joist, you're going to need this support, this bracket, this nail attached to that home. So it might not be the same job every time, but you're still doing carpentry. You're adjusting to the situation at hand. You're doing the same thing with your strategy, is that based on your table minimums and maximums, based on your bankroll and dollar amount, shows how you're going to integrate these two vectors right here into your strategy. Now, understandably, you should be right here, I think, for most of it. That means that you should be right in the middle. All your BS should be right here. But in saying that, let's say you have a table like Rivers, which has a 25K maximum bet, 50K maximum lay, 100x odds, and a $10 minimum. So this is not really a factor anymore. That's it. That's just out there. Like, all right, well, that's pretty much done. You don't have to worry about that. That means emphasis is brought down to how much money and what strategy you're going to use, because now the maximums are in. But the same thing. Now this one comes to big bankroll and progressive betting. Same thing though, this focus of these two, which is strategy and bankroll management, it doesn't matter how much you skew the table itself and their mins and maxes, this right here will always be huge. These are pinnacles of craps. Now you can call whatever you want to call what you're doing, whatever. But these three vectors, and this is just over time experience that I'm just telling y'all, to me, it's just me mentally in my mind putting it in a representation. These three vectors, I can sit here and put bubbles of like all the 60 things you have to remember about these three. But these three factors are every single time is what's going to make your strategy or your betting experience, your gambling experience, where it needs to be, is these three things. So, Bobby, those are my 2 cents about that. So now getting back to it, $10,000 bankroll, $25 table. We're doing DGE, guys. And this is very much, it could be a Q&A. You guys can ask questions and stuff and I'll answer it. But that's just like anything else, guys. Like that last experience I just talked to y'all about, I want to make sure that I'm not going to do that again. So that was improper betting on my side. And that's just due to 60 days eviction in terms of the casino. I haven't been to Harris in 60 days and not practicing at home because I just kind of took a 2-month break. And that is the problems that you can have down the road. Now, and think about this. I could have came out here and said, hey guys, I made $2,700 in 2.5 hours and it's because whatever. But you also have to look at, even though it's a positive result, you have to look at where the mistake was made. And the mistake was right there. Now, whether it panned out or not, to me at least, does not bringing to my mind. Just because I was rewarded for bad behavior doesn't mean I should keep doing bad behavior. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna bring this back just a hair because I forgot I do an offset. And we're gonna treat this very much like I would if I was at a casino, okay guys? Okay? Okay, okay? Okay. And how about, I'm gonna scoot the table just a hair forward. And then do that. And then also do that. There we go. We're cooking with vinegar now. All right. And just to let you guys know, after this crap session, it might be a shorter one. It's not going to be a 3 hour 10 one because I'm going to have a drink and I'm going to be doing Q's and A's where I pull up other people's YouTubes and I just go through those YouTube channels and show y'all progressions and strategies, just like that. Kind of like a little, I don't know, watching stuff. Podcasts? Gaming? I don't know. $25 table. Let's just go ahead and get the river chips out since I was just talking about them so fondly. $25 offset. I'm going to let you guys know the rivers. We're playing under rivers rules, which is a river Chicago. Let's knock that out. Which means 100x odds on anything, $10 minimum, $25,000 max bet, 10K bankroll, bajingles. All right. So we're going to start out very much with a $30 6 and 8. She is working. Gonna pull this. And it's a 7 out. Yeah, let's just get her going good. All right, that's what I lost. We're gonna come back with a $60 6 and 8. She working. That's 12. I lose this. I keep this going and this going at a lower level. That's a 3. That gets paid out. I keep that flat it and then turn off. That is a 7. I'm going to turn on. Oh, this really is like a casino. 6 pays 70. Might as well put that back. Well, guys, that's exactly what happens at a real casino. Might as well just call that hairs right there. Immediate miss, re-hit. I'm going to leave that stagnant for right now. $60 level. It's a little bit high for even the 10K bankroll, but we're gonna play with a little bit more, I guess, Cavaliers. I wanna show you guys too, I don't really show this on video a lot, so I wanna really emphasize what you can do when you're not betting if you're using DG strategy, and this is what I did. That's just a $6 6. It really doesn't mean anything. 8, what it does do though, it's like, it's betting, it's action. I am participating somewhat, 7 out. And once again, if you're talking about one roll probabilities, you're still gonna make $5 or $10 or something like that, you know? And if you do 6, you can come back with 12, and then if on your third unique point, you're sitting here on, you know, $18 down, you can just come back and just pick $25, which you wanna do anyway on the minimum table, which then in turn sits here and puts you where you need to be anywhere, so it's still action, it's still good, it's still love. I know. Whew, I'm oddly sober, guys. I feel pretty compact right now. All right, we got a Yo 11. We got a 7. I forgot to put $6 odds. Doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and turn these on. Let's get them cranked. 7. I'll say, dealer, what am I out there? He'll stick to me and say, you are out, sir. $150. And understandably, that is with the progression, the press that I made. And I'm going to come at it with a little bit more veracity. $300 6 and 8 working. We've had 2 7 come out 7s, a third one. So now I'm at $450 down. I'm going to go ahead and say I want a $450 6 and 8 working. That's a Yo 11. Keep it going. That's a Yo 11. It's off. That's a 7. It's on. That's an 8. $450. Let me break this down. So $450 is my bet. So 3 pays $350. It's $525, Charles. Come on, man. Come on, Charles. Like, are we really that bad? Are we really been playing craps for that long? It's because you know why? Big numbers scare me. All right, so made that back, $525 off of $450. So I'm up $125 off that 8, which is great. But guys, and this is just going to show you, this kind of junk is very common. This is not a choppy table. This isn't a bad table. This is exactly what you expect when doing stuff like this. And those little choppy chops are okay, man. Turn it up, man. Let the butter churn. All right, and I'm gonna see here and look at these. They're gonna look at me and say, you just did $900 action on the inside. Now you're doing $6. And I'd look at them and say, hey, $6 pays $5 every time. All right, and then because of my ill-gotten booty, I'm actually going to sit here and say, okay, I've rolled a double 7 and now a triple 7. So I'm actually going to come at it with a 356 and 8 because I don't, or sorry, 156 and 8 because I don't think that quad 7s are going to happen. And that was a, hopefully you guys can see that, that was a 6. So that's a really, and I stop here, I'm going to stop and show you guys. That right there, that little ditty in the first whatever minutes it took to do it, that ditty, which is, it's not 175. What does 150 pay? Why am I stagnant right here? It doesn't want to pay 175, right? 15, no, 120 pays 140 and 30 pays 35. Yeah, it is 75. Woo! Man, it's a little late today. Oddly sober. But in saying that, this progression is a prime example of where you can use table history in your advantage. And the reason why is I came out here, choppy table, choppy table, choppy table, choppy table. However, I'm mentally telling myself, like, you know what? You know, he rolled a double 7, a triple 7. I came into the table not knowing what the table was doing. And now, based on that decision, I have made a bigger bet that to y'all are saying, well, you're taking these stabs or you're doing something outside your norm. It's not. It's like, hey, man, you rolled a double 7 and a triple 7. The odds of you rolling another triple 7 or a quad 7 are pretty rare, just in general. And on top of that, you've already rolled a double triple, which is pretty rare in general. So why not capitalize on the information for your third shooter to do something like this? For now, instead of a $5 or $10 profit or $35 profit or a $70 profit, you get a $175 profit, which in turn allows you to do stuff like say, okay, well, I made 175. Let's just go ahead and say I made 95 and have this going and just let it ride. Let it ride as long as you want it to let it ride. So nice out, 7, boom. Still made $100 on the rip. God, man, this is, I know this doesn't seem like this for y'all, but this is so quintessential, like, this happens all the time. This right here is probably one of the most standard rolls I've ever rolled on this table without any, this is literally what happens to me constantly. So it's really great that they're showing that because this really does feel like a normal table at Harrah's or Rivers, whatever you want to call it. Normal casino day. And it'll come up here at a chop. You already made me put a $900 action in the middle. I haven't even gotten settled in yet, but here we are, still up. Hit the 4. Let's go ahead and do a 130. Oh, so we sit here and the ghost of Bobby Brown coming to get me. So 130, I'm gonna go ahead and take this back and put 135 right on the dome. I'm gonna keep this right, I don't know, right over here. 7. So now we're at 250 to 265 loss. But since it was a come out 7 as a 265 loss, I'm gonna bring this back. I'm gonna get a little froggy and do just a $100 odds right here, but a 156 and 8 working right there. 8 pays 350, which is well over what I lost. No, it's not. Charles. Let's do this correctly now. So I'm gonna convert this to keep y'all looking kosher. That's gonna pay 175 back, okay? Point is an 8 after a 7. I'm still down $90. No 4's been thrown, no anything has been thrown. So right there, that $90 level, I'll keep the 100. And we're gonna see how this pans out. And based on what happens on this 8, comes down to where we either stay at flat it or be right back where we were. Because realistically, if I lose this 100, we're right back to where we were, but another point down. 7, so that's gonna pay, boom, and I made $10 profit, and we're out the door. But that 100 seems a lot scarier on an 8 than 250 or something like that. And I made even more money because of the working 7 after, in between points. So understandably, you have a little bit of action to go back and fro, to and fro, whatever you want to say it, between the two. Just don't be scared, but also you have to be very cognizant of how you're going to do something, where you're going to go afterwards if it does not work out, and then the betting amounts involved. And we've been hitting so many double 7s, I'm going to keep working. 6, 70, yep. I mean, if we're going to do that kind of day, then we're going to do that kind of day. 6, I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to a 90. Click back to 40. So out of 120, now I only have really 80 invested. 5, 9, 8, 5, 9, and do another 8, 12, 7 out. Pays $5. Boom, already filling up the wrap pretty well right now. I'm going to turn on. Oh, that is a 7. Okay, dealer. What a lose there, I want to buy it back. And they'll look at you and say, you had 150 out there, Mr. DG. And I'm like, just kidding, I don't want to pay that. Just kidding, I do, $300, 156 and they working. They'll say bet. 7, so now I'm at 450. Here we go again. That's a 9, 900. Oh! Hopefully y'all guys catch that. If not, then we'll drag it back. I want to make sure my hands are free here. 7. God, I'm way lagged behind. All right, let's see it. What do I have here that could be potentially something to use? I need a pen. I have sunglasses. I mean, here, maybe I can hook them like that. Maybe. Oh no, it's like, can I hook or not? Nope. Oh, wait. Maybe if I do this. God. I wouldn't be this anal if it was a 7, guys. That's the biggest thing. All right, so based on that, so 525 again. So I should have made $125 on that. Point is a 6. And I'm actually going to keep this going, which is, well, first of all, let's put this back. And let's go ahead and do a 5, 8, 9. Boom. I feel like you always hit, it's 225 Lux, just pick it up. I know. This is an anal part of me, I guess. I wish, like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, all right, let's just see how, well, that's easy enough. And since we've had such a multitude of 7s, I kind of want to be a little, you know, and this is, once again, this is realism talking as much as possible. We have had an inordinate amount of double 7s, triple 7s, come out 7s, double 7s, triple 7s, come out 7s, okay? So inherently, you want to sit here and say, well, based on that fact, I should be starting to pick up on that trend and say, okay, like obviously it's coming out. I should be betting the hops. I should take down the 6s and 8s. No. That's kind of like one of those things that a shooting star doesn't mean the sky is falling. So in saying that, don't let a trend like this, even though it's rare, adjust your entire system. To me, when I see this, I get excited because to me, that all it proves is that, hey, we're going to have some big rolls coming up. That's one assumption. 2, that a lot of 7s are being thrown. So you should be able to just really ramp up your 6 and 8 in order to have a lot of good success. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a $1,200, which is a $600 6 and 8, and she is going to be working. I don't know how to say it. I don't even know how to Shoo! All right, so that pays 700. And with an extra 700, based on that scenario, point is a 6. I'm gonna put a $50 5, a $60 8, and a $50 9. And it's working with absolutely no odds against. So that's 100, 150, 160 at a $700 profit. I'm down for that. 8 pays 70. Press it by 30. So I know, let's just say that's 50. Just kind of eyeballing things here, guys. So now I'm at, what, 60, 70 bucks, something like that. So, I mean, I'm good. I don't care. Just keep it going. 7 out. Not a big deal. It's awesome when you can lose $190. You're like, whatever. Whatevs. All right, I'm going to do, real quick, before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure and do a straight-up hard count. Because there's a lot of good rolls. It was actually a lot of bad rolls, but you guys know what I mean. So 3, 6, 8, 9, 10. And I'll do hard counts later, guys, so don't you worry about that. I'm just seeing where I'm at. 2, 4, 8, 9. So I'm up $900 right now as it stands. I'm putting my 10,000 right here. And right there in this moment of like, okay, a lot of stuff has happened. Let me do an account measurement because I don't want that excitement to snowball me into making bigger bets over and over and over and over again. So 10,000 is right here. We're up around 900 bucks. I'm liking that position. I like where that is. Let's go ahead and 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, and do this, which means I want 150 in green back. And they can color up in 225 luckies because I know the dealer. Oops. Which is 3, 3. Bazingles. All right, so this is now mentally, okay? Right here, hard switch. When I say hard switch, that means that I was playing a moderate bankroll, I was playing a bankroll moderate DGE with $10,000, okay? What all that entails. Well, now I'm still gonna be playing moderate DGE, but I'm scaling it to a $900 bankroll, generally around that. And the reason why is because now I can basically play like I have a lot more because I have a $900 runway to back where I'm supposed to be at. And this is where you can do your hard shift saying, okay, I can play moderate DG or whatever moderate strategy. What's going on, AZ? I can now do a moderate strategy with 900, but you should right now already know where your accounting stop is, because if you blow through the 900, right there at 10,000, you can stop, say, okay, I'm not gonna do this, or I could do this, or in Bobby's instance, in your situation, I can look at this and say, hey, this is what betting amount I should be out in this progression. I am way over that. I need to reconcile. Easy ways. So think of this 900 as a second bankroll, and the big brother behind it is your accounting person saying, we can't do that, okay? So that's the mentality when I say we're shifting gears. I'm not saying, okay, it's time to go wide open on the 900. It's just now I have two bankrolls where I can basically say, okay, I want to play this bankroll a certain way. I want to play this bankroll a certain way. Now, realistically, if you actually separate these two bankrolls out to where they're supposed to be, then you'd be like, okay, well, Charlie, at 10,000, you should be able to make 2,000. You have 900 here, you need 1,100. So you're going to tell me that you're going to make $1,100 off this $900? And my answer to you is that if you actually watch the videos and actually see me in casinos, I might have 100,000, 50,000, 20,000, 60,000, 10,000, $5,000. But most 90% of my day, and probably 95, even 97 if you're, I don't know, 95 sounds good. 95% of the time, I made that $2,700 yesterday off $6,000. Most of the time, I'll make $1,000 of realistically $1,000 with a $9,000, $10,000, $4,000 ass on it for what ifs. So to me, it doesn't seem that outlandish. Consider the fact that my operating money in turn is usually 10% of bankroll. So if I have 10,000, I'm utilizing 1,000. So to me, this is like basically saying, oh, instead of utilizing 10% of your bankroll, you're utilizing 20% of your bankroll, but still having 90% of your bankroll as a insurance policy. Just food for thought. Okay, so right here, you know, we did really well. We've hit a multitude of 7s. Let me go ahead and delete that inappropriate comment. Let's go ahead and just do, I don't know why those pop up sometimes. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna take another stab. 156 and 8 working. We've had nothing but come out 7s. So that is a 5. Where's my glasses? Where's my glasses? Unless y'all can see that, which I don't think you can. Nope. Well, it was a 5. And then of course, Ron, I did that. I flipped it, but it was a 5. I guess it doesn't matter. But anyways, okay, so 5, these turn off. I'm gonna switch gears and just do a $60 lay. Put that right there. And essentially, instead of doing a lot of 2s and few stuff, now I'm just gonna start doing a bunch of stabbers, which is 7, 5, 6, 6, 5. That's 5 fields. I lose the leg, okay? So leg on, which 60 would have paid 40, which is a $2 vig, but still I'm down $60. And the point of 5 has been made, okay? So I'm just gonna return to $65 on the don't, okay? And then also start the progression of the field of $25. That's a 7, okay? So watch this. So we lose this, 60 and 65 for 125. So I'm gonna put 130. Whoa, how about we use the correct chips? 130 right here, I'll lose the 25 and put 30 right here and turn these on. Yo 11, okay? So I've completed my field bet. I've lost 130 and 125 for 255. So we'll come back with 260 and turn these off. 8 is the point. All right, so let's talk about this. We have seen a 5 point, an 11, and then an 8 point, okay? I have 265 out here. Now, right here, notice that this is almost gone. Oh, here. This is still almost gone. Let's just say you have $400, a little bit over $400 right here. So out of the 900, 400 is gone. Now, is that true? No, technically I have this too. So technically I could be $600 or $700 in profit. So I'm really just down $200 in profit. So right here, Bobby, you know, I am heavy on a second point on the don't right here. Mentally, I'm telling myself, okay, 265, we're good because I'm in my profit. If it gets worse over time, I can make the decision to switch to main bankroll for a bigger bet or just say, hey, part of living, okay? So let's continue this. So 265 right there on the 8. 8 point immediately made. So let's just say 265 times, okay, 2 is 4. So 530. So right now, my next bet should be 530, okay? So right here, I am not gonna get too ridiculous about it. I'm instituting my bankroll back into this, and I'm just gonna put 500, to make this simple, right here on the dome. That's a 4. Now, technically speaking, I'm $35 short. I like the 4 being right there. I feel good about a 4. I hit 11s coming out, but I still feel I'm confident on a 3.4 and I have a $10,000 bankroll plus a little bit of change. So I'm gonna sit here and put myself into more of a hole and to show you recovery or show you a good bailout. So right here, first of all, $35, that's what we're talking about. So I'm gonna put $100 odds right here. That's a 9, that's a 4. So right here, I could have said, hey, we're gonna take a pop shot and put 500 on 500 for 1,000. I did enough to make 50 for 35 for $15 profit, okay? So 535 is now 1,035, 1,135. We have 1135 down, 3 points fade, and now we're getting into oh shucks territory. So I'm gonna put a matching bet. That's a 6. It's the 4th unique point. So I already know right now the fire bet gives me a 25 to 1. So right here I'm just gonna say, which is not true, which is pretty much you're a 50 to 1, if not worse. But I'm gonna say for right now's purposes, 25 to 1, I'm a 50 to 1 favorite, which I think is pretty out there. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. So I have $8,000 left and some change. I think I should be good. So in saying that, I already know I would have this on an abacus, but I have an 1135 loss and a pure 1135 don't, for a total of 2270 is what I'm in if this 6 should lose, okay? So mentally I'm like, okay, 2270, that's 8,000. Can I make 2,000 off 8? Of course I can. So right here in my bankroll, taking into account the mins and maxes, which doesn't matter because they're so big, taking into account strategy, which I'm debating with y'all right now, and also coming back into bankroll management, what do I be left with? On that decision, I'm like, okay, should I go for it? Now, if I was at a casino and it was a 6, I probably would say this is the last time I take a pop shot, and if this goes bad, we're into recovery mode. And that's based on a $10,000 scale. So like, for instance, if you're playing at smaller tables, smaller odds, X, Y, and Z, you might say this at the $600 bet or $500 bet. Take it what you will, okay? That is a 3, but I already told you guys that just like the casino, this would not count as a roll. Just letting y'all know now, I've said it every video, but 4, 10, 7 out. So hopefully that giant conversation helped y'all a little bit, because I put myself in almost the exact situation that a lot of people put themselves in and say they can't get out of. And was a little bit more aggressive. Yes, I told y'all why. It's because of the $900 profit. Was that a little bit, would you say, of a stab? Not so much, and hopefully that breakdown really helped y'all understand that where the logic was coming from, where I'm coming from. And then right here, once again, guys, big payout. You want to always consecutively just check bankroll, man. You should always be checking where you're at. So 2, 4, 5, 4, 2, 4, 5. So right here, it's a soft count, so don't worry. But this is my 10,000. So let's see where we're at. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, some change. So I probably made in that session like, I don't know, 30 bucks, maybe 20 bucks, something like that. But once again, mentally, right here, once again, okay, I stop and say, all right, I'm up 900. I have my bankroll right here. I am going to sit here and play X, Y, and Z to the point where I need to be, okay? So it's exactly what I was talking about before that debacle, is we're still playing that debacle, okay? Before I go any further, does anyone have any questions on that set of how I did that? Because that is a clear textbook, by the book logic, mindset, plan. What happens if it does hit? What happens if it doesn't hit? I just can't believe I'm live right now. I just feel like I'm just so far off. I mean, I think everyone's good. All right, so let's keep rolling. So same thing as before. 900 bajangles. All right, so I am going to go ahead and assume I used that DP the last 2 times to recover, roll like a charm. And that's the thing, AZ Crapshooter said I used that DP the last 2 times to recover, roll like a charm. You know, these gambits are meant to be backdoors into other things. And so once again, I think there's strategies out there that are profitable. DGE is different because I'm not trying to be the most profitable. What I'm trying to be is the most consistent, which means missing out on profit opportunities, but surviving horrible opportunities. There should never be a comment in the DGE full-fledged system where you say, hey, I lost everything. Now you should say, hey, I could have won everything, but your stupid system didn't allow me to. because this entire system is based on survivability, not profitability. I look at it very much, before I continue again with my $9,000 profit or whatever, my goal is the mentality of Galaga. When I look at Galaga, an old arcade game for someone who doesn't know what that is, when I look at Galaga, I don't think the purpose of Galaga is to get a high score. The purpose of Galaga is to stay alive the longest, which in turn means you're shooting stuff. And realistically, the high score represents someone who has stayed alive the longest. So the goal was to survive, and the result of surviving is the high score. The goal is not the high score, and as a result, you survive. It's a little bit different mentality, but let's go ahead and keep going. Because we got a plethora of sevens, I think it's going to be dying down here, but based on that last one, if I was at a casino, I'm like, hey, I'm not going to sit here and just spend my entire life in the 4-digit range. So we're going to sit here and dial it down a little bit. But even right here, 120 lay on the 4. Those 2 ships to shoot with, exactly. That's a deuce, second roll. That's a 3, third and final roll is a 9, turn off, come down. 3, 7 out. Turn these on. I'm gonna go ahead and start, ooh, that's a $100 chip. I'm gonna go ahead and start offsetting. That's a 9. Man, let me get some. Ooh, I'm gonna save that my fancy chip. Let me go ahead and get $200 in green. We'll put $75 odds, and let's keep it going. That's gonna be a 6, pays 35. I'm gonna press it by 12. Click back to 25. That's an 8, pays 35. Click it by 12, or press it by 12. I'm actually going to turn off and just do $30 odds. It's a 7, which pays 20. Okay. Now I really want to talk about this right here, and so this one isn't going to be a rant. This is going to be pretty short. That right there is a perfect example of why you sit here, and if I hit twice, I am still not 100% pushing. And the reason why, think of your betting like an investment, okay? Like, who is it that loses the most money in investments? People that do like cryptocurrency or long shots, where they put in $100 to make $30,000, they usually just lose $100. So you have to look at these in investments. You hit twice, and you reached over 110% on your investment. That's all you can ask for, is doubling your money, in my opinion. I turn off and say, based on that, I've made $70, and those $70, I once again took a $70 profit, put $30 out of 70 back into the system for reinvestment, and then matured on the $30 investment with a $20 investment, which is an 80% return. So here is AZ Craps. AZ Crap Shooters, waiting a couple of minutes, rolls, let those 7s breathe, had worked out well. Letting that double 7 come was a great recommendation. Exactly. So that is a good little isolated event that shows, like, man, go in there, grab it, and now, instead of getting $35, you're getting $50 on the same $60 investment. You're now making $50. So now you're making almost 80% of your investment on the 6 and 8, and soon you're going to keep building and building and building. That's a 5. I'm going to protect the investment and put 90. So I'm raising the don't just a hair. 1 roll, 7 out. I lose all this. And let's see what I actually lost. So 90 pays 60. And look at that. $12, 6 and 8, $12, 6 and 8. I lost what I pressed. That means I still clicked back $18 on those 6s and 8s every time. Simple stuff. Simple stuff. All right. Let's go ahead and get some new dice in here. Good Lord. He's been treating me like a redheaded stepchild. Actually, let me do this exactly the way I do in the casino, which would be a $100 chip, there, $100 chip, there, $100 chip, there, $100 chip, and put 2 and 4. 2, 4, 6, 8, $1,000, a little bit over 1,100. So I'm up a little bit over 1,100 on a $10,000 bankroll. Now the biggest bet I made was $1,200, and I had to do that in order to win back X, Y, and Z. So I think technically I've only played with $2,000, $3,000. So in the course of a working bankroll, what I've action debated when I betted, excuse me, all tongue-tied, based on my working bankroll and the action I have done so far, I've probably, let's just say, ramp it up to a $3,000 of active money I've utilized with a $1,100 profit, which is almost 50%. Now, in saying that, when I do a $10,000 bankroll, I still base my profit generally around a $5,000 bankroll if I was at a casino. For a YouTube video, I try to stay a little bit longer and do the 2,000. So we're gonna keep going, but understand, this is where I'm at right now. And a lot of times, if I hit 1,000 in like less than 2 hours, I'm pretty happy with that. It's $500 an hour, I can go home. I'd rather be enjoying myself than killing myself working this stuff out. All right, good talk. So I'm gonna do a $60 6 and 8. That's a 10. I'm gonna do 250 on the don't. First roll deuce. Second roll 5. Third and final roll is a 5. These are off. We'll reduce this down to 50. That's a 6. Where were you at beforehand? That's a 10. Okay. So 2 10s have been thrown. What did redheads do to you? What haven't they done? Fiery people. All right, so lost the 50, okay? And the 10 point has been made. 2 10s, 10 points been made. I'm gonna go ahead and sit here and do just a 55 don't and see where this takes us. That is a 6. Hopefully you guys see that. 6. I'm not gonna do anything, and I'm just gonna let the 6 play out. It's at a small enough level to where I can just let this play itself out as a 6, because remember, even a 6 on the don't is still your edge to win, 9. So I get scared of the 6 and 8 for a lot of reasons, 6, but you gotta understand that you're still in a good position, 55. So 50 and 55 for a total of 105, and I'm gonna put 110 on the don't, 7, that's 215 loss. So we'll come into 220 on the don't. A 7 puts this right here, and then I'm rolling. That's a 5. I like a 5. And so watch this. So I'm gonna put a 7 and then a 5. I'm gonna turn these on and put 150 as odds. Now watch this. It's a 220 right here. I'm actually gonna take this and put it like this so y'all can represent it. So I'm gonna this is my, once again, nothing changed, it's still, but what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna splay this out for you. This is my don't pass bet, and these are my odds on that bet, working a 6 and 8 on a 3rd point after I come out 7, okay? Of course. Well, hold on guys, let me go dumpster diving real quick. Actually, I'm not a dumpster dive, I can just walk across. I don't know why I sat here last time and would just run under the table, but that's on me. Now, I don't know if you're paranoid like me. I can't even stare at the dice when I can't even stare at the dice when they hit the floor because I just get too paranoid about it. Dice are dice, doesn't matter the roll. But in saying that, pulling into my obsession, it was a rolled 7, if you care about that kind of stuff. All right, second roll is a 9. Third and final roll is a 10. I didn't do anything, so I did all that build up for nothing. That's an 8, of course. It's a 9. It's a 9. That's a 4. It's a 9. It's a 7. The 220 pays. 225, I'll give it back a 5. Right, boop, 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 reset, boop, boop. And then we'll have these working, and then I'll offset these two. The 9 again. That is gonna be 150 right here. That's a 10, that was a 9. I was like, of course. It's a 6, pays 70. I'm actually gonna do something press by 30 and keep it going. Take back to 40. Yo 11, and even one more roll, why not? 4, nothing happening, turn off. I'm gonna reduce this down to 60. That's an 11. That's a 9. Point made, 60. Yeah, I am really just kind of going everywhere with this. This feels like a work day, and I say that to y'all in all honesty. Like, this feels exactly like what happens at casinos all the time. It's just, you know, you don't win all of them, you don't win all of them all the time, and it just kind of goes from there. I'm gonna go ahead and put 90 on here. Nine. Okay, so 2 points have been made. So I'm down 125, 175, $215. I would be writing this down, so that's why I have to kind of add it out. $215 down. I'm gonna flat it because I've been doing some dummy things in the last couple rolls. So 215 on the 9. 12 is a push. 6, really don't like a 215 on a 6, but it's a low enough amount inside profit to not really break my heart. 8, 5, 6. Let's say 210 and 215 for 425. And we'll just come out with a 425 right here. 8, well, I really don't like this. So 425, which really represents 850. So you kind of have an 850 down or even based on an 8 on a 4th point. It's a 4th point, it's a 3rd unique point, it sucks, but we're here. 6, 10, ooh, another 10. 7 out. Phew. And let's see here, and back this down. Let's see where this is at. 5. Just losing my mind here. 5, 4. All right, that's what I started out with. That's 950, 1,000, yeah, right around 1,100 still. Right around 1,100. All right, so if that's the case, we'll have these working. That's a yo 11. Turn these off. That's a 9. God, do I even dare to dream that high? Seven out, of course. 150 pays 100. 30, 40. I lost 50 bucks there and only pressed it by 30. 50, so I went down a little bit on that one. Have no fear, bankruptcy is coming. All right, man, this is really like a casino. It's working. 4 off, 50 odds. Make back for that $50 loss that I just did. 7 out. Boom. Now I'm only down 25. Working. 7. Oof. Badoof. Oof. Badoof. Let's go. Let's go. How much terrifying things can we do today? 5. Second roll. The 7 out, which is a wash. 3, 3. Five. That is a 900. 8. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Good Lord. Battling demons out here. Still like $1,150 up. All right, stagnation at its best. Oh wait, sorry. 8, $75. 10, 6, 6. Where were you at 10 years ago? 8, 10 years ago. 5, point made. $75 lost will come down to an $80, oops, don't, and then put $25 on the field. 7, let me do this right, 75, 80, 155, so that comes back with 160. $25 lost. Back with 30. And for a 7 out, let's go ahead and do a yeah, let's turn in one of these. I am struggle busting right now. It's not even struggle busting, it's just one of those things where I'm like, the video is being exactly what the casino is doing, which to you guys is awesome. It's good practice. For me, I'm just like, ugh, what a slow trudge into infinitum. All right, so we're gonna do a 60R, 6 and 8, working. Whoa, double 7s on the come out, so that needs to be reset. So let me do this. 160 and 155 is 315. So 320 needs to go right here. This is a total of 55. So let's just do 60. And this can be a 150, 6 and 8 working. 4. Okay. Man, first 4. So this can get paid. This is good. I really like this, 320. However, I really like that too, the 6 hundo or the 3 hundo. So I actually am going to stab for that. 8 pays 175. Which means this is no longer necessary. Which means this is no longer necessary. Which, I kind of like that position though. I'm looking at this. What's up, Waylon? All right, so I'm looking at this. So I got, $320 right here. I have 3, 4, 520, 550 in profit behind. This has been an exceedingly choppy and slow day, which is great, gives y'all examples, which also tells me it's right time to go, okay? And so, and based on that fact, I'm gonna put an additional $300 as odds right on top of it for no good reason. And just because I'm a degenerate gambler, we'll keep that going, just to say if we miss out on opportunities, we'll see you're gonna have a 6 and 8 out there for max press, but 8, 35, press by 30, rack, 7 out. So I lose 90 right here, which really I just lose 60, okay? So I lost $60, got paid 150, so I profit 90 off this, and then the 320, I'll pay 325 and dish back a 5. And this is where a little bit of the opposite, or not the opposite, but this is where I kind of, usually almost inherently, every single video, I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to make my 20% no matter what. However, in talking to you yahoos, I've come to realize that maybe sometimes you guys, when you're up 1,000 or right under 10%, whatever, it would behoove y'all later to say, you know what, if it's a rough table, it's a rough time, just enjoy yourself and get out of there. So that's 1,000. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1,000. $25, 100, 200. So, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I came with $10,000 and made $1,294. All right, now I want you to really think about this video. Okay, this video saw almost everything that I've talked to you guys in the past about recovering, addressing where you are, making chops if you have to, making informed stabs when you have to. So I really like the way this video went. It was a very unagreeable table. It had doubles and triple sevens almost all the time. It had a point, then a point made almost immediately. We had up to 4 or 5 points made. These all are factors that could potentially have in bankruptcies. Now, in my experience when talking to y'all, not so much in craps, but talking to y'all, I think what happens a lot of the times is that you look at this video and say, well, there's no mistakes, or Charlie, you're in the perfect, clean, and sterile environment, or the best that could happen live happens live. But I think it delves a little bit deeper. Number one, I think I agree with you in some parts saying that, hey, you don't see a lot of missteps on this channel. And the reason why is because prior playing can really avoid a lot of messy situations that are recoverable under different circumstances. And I say that to you with love because realistically, there's not a lot of, what am I gonna say? You can avoid things and hindsight is 2020. Well, if you already know hindsight is 2020, then sit here and put yourself into 30 minutes prior and say, okay, this could be the moment I'm losing everything. What would I have done differently? And mentally put yourself in that headspace and you can see you're doing a lot of great things, which comes into conservatorship, comes to being humble, comes from not being greedy, comes from taking stabs and waiting down the road. Wait for a situation. And here's the thing is that if you ever want any kind of backup to this, really delve in to a poker mentality. And I say that because poker says, hey, you're gonna take a stab for your entire stack with pocket eights, or do you wanna wait 50 more hands and potentially get ace, king, kings, queens, jacks, and take a stab at that point? And so I'm gonna end this video with telling y'all that I'm going to be redoing a live video here in like 10 minutes. And the live video is where I'm gonna be on the TV talking to y'all, and on the TV I'm gonna pull up a different craps video and we'll talk about how I could avoid that, how I would have done things differently, X, Y, and Z, and kind of doing more of a watching someone else's videos and saying how I would have addressed it, X, Y, and Z. And so, you know, I'm telling you guys is that that profit comes in small amounts. How do you turn a career into a 401k retirement? It's not $1,000 every other time and losing $1,000. It's nickel and diming your paycheck every week. How does a casino make hundreds of millions of dollars on $5 bets, 25-cent slots, and dollar bets? Okay, so understand, guys, that you want to build and amass a craps fortune, quote unquote, or a good portfolio in your craps game. It's nickel and dime affairs that are the most consistent. And also, if it's consistent going up, it will be consistent going down, and nothing will spiral into a depression cave of unhappiness, throwing everything in, and then you're looking at yourself later saying, what did I just do? How did that happen? Okay, so I think that's it. And like I said, guys, I'm going to set the camera, do stuff on the old thing. I think it should take about 5-10 minutes anyway. No problem, Dice Daddy. Like I said, once again, if you guys, oh, sorry, that's wrong video. So once again, guys, I'm getting off here, getting on there in about 5-10 minutes. It takes all over, it takes to set up the thing. And then from there, I'm going to be basically like on a whiteboard telling you guys like, hey, right here, I'd have avoided that. And feel free, guys, if y'all join the live chat again when I'm doing that, to drop a link into a video you want me to check out. And I'll sit here and do that video, click on that video and keep it going. So just food for thought. All right, let me go ahead and get in the chair, get in the ladder, put myself 20 feet above air, and do that. All right, guys, this is Charlie from Drunk Guy Explains. I'll check you guys next time.